All right, so let's work through this counting atoms, breaking down the chemical formulas student practice page together. So this one looks like it's a little bit confusing the way that the chart is set up, but I think that you'll see that it's really not that complicated. What it does is it gives us our chemical formulas on the left-hand side, and then it wants us to list how many of each element it has in it, how many atoms of each element. And then it wants us to figure out the total number of atoms and the total number of elements. So it sounds like a lot, but we're going to go through it step by step and see that it's really not that bad. All right, my first formula that I have is CaCO3. I'm going to look for my capital letters. If I can get my pen to work. I have CaCO3. So Ca, I have no subscript on that one, so I just have 1. C, I have no subscript, so I just have 1. And O, I have a subscript of 3. For my total number of atoms, I'm just going to add those all up. I have 1 carbon, 1 calcium, 3 oxygens. That gives me 5 altogether. For my total number of elements, I can just look at my capital letters. And I can also look at how many boxes I have filled in here. I have 1 box, 2 boxes, 3 boxes. I have 3 total elements. For my second one, I have H2O2. So H, I have 2 atoms. O, I have 2 atoms. If I add those together, I get 4. And if I look at my total number of elements, either by looking at my capital letters in my formula or by counting my boxes, I see that I have 2. H2SO4. H2, so I have 2 hydrogens. S has no subscript, so that's an invisible 1. And O4, I have 4 oxygens. For my total atoms, if I count those all up, I have 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 altogether. And I have 1, 2, 3 boxes. So I have 3 elements altogether. 3, NaNO3. So I have Na has no subscripts. So that's 1 times the 3 coefficient. So that's really 3. N has no subscripts, so that's 1 times the 3 coefficient, so that's also 3. Oxygen has 3 subscript times the 3 coefficient, so that one is 9. If I add those together, 3 plus 3 is 6, plus 9 is 15. And if I look at my number of boxes, I see that I have 3 elements in that formula. 2, MgCl. MgCl. So Mg has no subscripts, so that's an invisible 1, times the 2 gives me 2. Cl, 2 times the 2 gives me 4. 4 plus 2 is 6, and I have 2 boxes, 2 elements in that problem. Ooh, this one's going to make me do a little bit of math. I have CH3CH2Cl. We've mentioned this before, but sometimes you'll see chemical equations written like this, so that because the way that the atoms are arranged, so instead of writing it out C2H5, they want to show it this way so that you can know how the molecule has arranged itself. So C has 1 C here and 1 C here. If I add those together, I'm going to get 2. Hydrogen, I have 3 here and 2 here. If I add those together, I get 5. And I have 1 Cl. Let me just clear that to make that a little bit easier if you need to go back and see it. So 2 carbons, 5 hydrogens, and 1 chlorine. If I add them together, 1 plus 2 is 3, plus 5 is 8. And then if I look, I have 1, 2, 3 boxes. And that will be 3. MgNO3 too. So Mg's out here all by itself with no subscript, so that's just 1. N has no subscript inside the parentheses, but it has a 2 outside, so that's 1 times 2 gives me 2. O has 3 inside the parentheses times 2 outside, so that gives me 3 times 2 is 6 for oxygen. 1 plus 2 is 3, plus 6 is 9. And if I count up my number of boxes, 1, 2, 3, I have 3 elements there. Al2SO4 3. Al has 2. S has 1 times 3 is 3. O4 times 3 is 4 times 3 is 12. If I count these all up, 2 plus 12 is 14, plus 3 is 17. And I have 1, 2, 3 total elements in that formula. Mg has no subscript out in front of the parentheses there, so that's just 1. O has an invisible 1 here, times that 2, it's going to give me 2. H has an invisible 1, times that 2, it's going to give me 2. If I add them together, 2 plus 1 is 3, plus 2 is 5. And I have 1, 2, 3 boxes. I have 3 elements. And the last one up top, B2, 2 for B. S has an invisible 1 times the 3 outside is going to be 1 times 3 is 3. O3 times the 3 outside is going to give me 9 oxygen. 2 plus 9 is 11, plus 3 is 14, and I have 1, 2, 3 elements. Phew, that one's all done. Let's take a look at some of these questions down here. Which of the following has the fewest number of total atoms? Okay. For C2H6O, I have 2 plus 6 is 8, plus 1 more is 9. CH3CH2Br, I have 1 plus 3 is 4, plus 1 is 5, plus 2 is 7, plus 1 is 8. And then C4H10O, 4 plus 10 is 14, plus 1 is 15. So the fewest number of atoms is going to be this one here in the middle. CH3CH2Br. All right, in which of these compounds are there twice as many hydrogens as oxygens? So for H2SO4, I have 2 hydrogens and 4 oxygens. That's not twice as many, that's half as many, so it's not that one. Here I have 1 hydrogen and 3 oxygens. That's not twice as many. Here I have 2 hydrogens and 1 oxygen. That one I have twice as many hydrogens as oxygens, so it is H2O. Number 3, how many oxygen atoms are there in the products of this equation? So the products are the ones on the right side of the equation. And I want to know how many oxygen atoms are there. So I have 2 here, times the 6 coefficient is going to give me 12. I have an invisible 1 here, times the 6 coefficient is going to give me 6. If I add those together, I get 18. Number 4, ammonium nitrate, NH4NO3, is a chemical used to fertilize soil. How many total atoms are represented in this chemical formula? So I have N is 1, H4 is 4, N is 1, O3 is 3. 1 plus 4 plus 1 plus 3. 1 plus 4 is 5, plus 1 is 6, plus 3 is 9. And there you have it.